outdoor racing might be done for a little while still, at least up here in the Northeast. Doesn't mean there's things not happening. Of course, Lenny Salmons has his series coming up. The Indoor Racing Championship Series begins later this month, as a matter of fact. Allentown on the 6th and 7th, and then a few weeks later they'll be at Atlantic City out at Boardwalk Hall on the 27th and 28th. But there is another race outside the area that the guy on the phone with me right now is going to be at. 56-year-old Joey Payne did not get out a lot last year, 5 times altogether. Did a couple of super races at Oswego, including the Classic. Got out 3 times with the TQ Midget. Won his dad's memorial race at Bethel and also did a couple shows at Wall Stadium. Let's head on down to Brick, New Jersey. Joey Payne is 56 years old now. But I want to say thanks to Robert J. Clark Race Photography for letting us use this picture. Joey, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Just, getting ready for some indoor action and, trying to work and work on race cars and just get everything ready.
And you're racing a race that probably a lot of people around here don't even know about. Tell me about this race out in Wayne, Indiana.
Okay, it's full midgets, just like the NEMA midgets, but they're mostly all Volkswagen cars, like older cars. And it's out in Fort Wayne at the Memorial Coliseum. And I'm lucky enough, last year Tony Stewart called me and asked me to drive for him, and I got a really good car. It's an ex-Saucony car, and I'm teammates with Tony and Mike Fedorchak, and we go there and we have a ton of fun.
Wow, sounds like it. So that must have been pretty cool getting a call from Tony Stewart to drive one of his cars.
55 years old. I mean, I've known Tony since we're kids. I mean, we raced up in Niagara Falls together.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And he raced up there a couple times, and then we raced together down in Florida when his first races in a midget was down in Florida, and I was driving for Gene Angelillo back then, and Louis Saucony. We were hanging out together, and we sort of took Tony under our wing, and told him all the bad stuff and treated him like one of the guys, but introduced him to a lot of bad stuff.
And you get rewarded for it. And that is, by the way, the 30th and 31st, if you guys are looking to take a trip out that way and see some indoor racing. And like we said, Allentown's the 6th and 7th, and then Atlantic City is 3 weeks later. That's a car you've driven before. That's a TQ, obviously, right?
No, it's a full midget.
Oh, it's a full midget. Okay. Car you've driven before?
Midget. I drove. For Atlantic City?
Yeah, for Atlantic City and Allentown.
Yeah. No, the car I drove in Syracuse last year, I'll be in again. It's owned by Bobby Weber, who owns Star Speedway, and I have the car down here in Jersey, and we're getting that ready right now. And it's a really good car. I was really comfortable in it last year. We had a really good run with it, and I'm looking to go down and get some good finishes, and hopefully we can squeak out a win here and there and get back into victory lane indoors.
Very nice. If you're looking for tickets, by the way, indoorautoracing.com. This is one of the Lenny Salmons races, so those are coming up before you know it, so get your tickets now. So what are we working on? Let me see, because I know you didn't get out much last year. We embellished the story with Joey on his broken ribs to make it sound a lot cooler than it actually was, but was that pretty much the reason? Because I imagine being in a seat like that and having broken ribs can't feel good.
Yeah, I didn't really. I broke my ribs in April, and I really didn't feel good enough to race until probably the beginning of June, and that's when I started. I raced a couple times in the TQ, and then in August we raced at Oswego the night before, the race before the Classic, and we raced at the Classic.
And felt good? No problems?
Yeah. The biggest thing the biggest problem I had early on was laying down. In the Super, you sort of lay back.
It's true.
And with laying back, it was putting a lot of pressure on my ribs. And
really?
I had broken the same ribs 20 years ago out in Michigan in the Super, and I guess with the scar tissue and whatever else is going on there, I guess when I rebroke them, it just took a while to reheal, and of course with the way money is these days, I didn't take any time off. I worked all through the broken ribs, and that probably didn't help things.
No, it didn't. So but sitting a little more upright like you do in the midgets and the TQs was a little more comfortable?
Yeah, yep.
Okay. And you told me you're making some changes. I can't remember exactly how you told it, but it seems like you're making some pretty significant changes to that Super. Yeah,
the car's at Joey Hawksby's right now, and he's going to wind up clipping the front end, just cut it off at the cage, and we're going to go with independent front.
Okay.
And this car here still has the engine laid over from when we had the old style tail wings.
Oh yeah.
And so we're gonna cut the engine mounts off, and we're gonna stand it straight up again at 6 degrees laid over instead of 35 or whatever it is, and that's gonna help the car a lot.
Well, how so? Because I'm trying to picture this in my mind. How would having the engine more straight up rather than laid over, what would that do?
Well, it's got to do with the cross weight and the left side weight. It just hampers it. I mean, I just think it doesn't make the car work as good as it is when the engine's straight up.
Okay. Is there a particular part of the corner or someplace that would help that you can think of specifically?
No, I think like the way they laid the engines over was to get air over to the left side of the old tail wing.
Oh.
So I just think that, you know, we don't have that tail wing anymore, and you know, we got this big tail wing up in the air, you know, 57 inches off the ground now, and the biggest problem we have is that there's no front downforce. That's why, you know, like my car had a straight axle in it, and a split nose, had a nose and 2 split nose wings, and we just can't get enough downforce on the front of the car. And that, you know, it's a good classic car the way it was, but you know, we can't go there on a Saturday night and just be competitive. You know, these guys, I mean, look at Michael Barnes, 15.3 last year.
I know that's fast.
You know, I timed in. I felt really comfortable with my car at 16.3.
Uh-huh.
And then when we timed, I got bad tires, and we were like a 16.5. But that's a second and a couple tenths slower than Mike. And, you know, those guys are, you know, they're all changing their cars, making land speed records. But, you know, on any given Saturday night, they're gonna be racing in the heat race at 15.5, 15.6.
Yeah, that's just too fast.
And if we can't get down under 16 seconds, there ain't no sense going.
Well, people have told me this, and I'd be interested to hear your thought on this. They say sometimes the cars could get so fast that it affects the quality of the racing. Sometimes you're better off slowing everybody down a little bit.
Absolutely. You know, that definitely plays in. And, you know, I mean, right now the biggest problem we got is it's really hard to pass.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I mean,
guys don't wiggle off the corners, right?
Right, they don't wiggle off the corners, but you know, this wing it steals so much air that it's you know, it's kind of hard to pass.
Is it too glued to the track almost, or
I mean, the back of the car is glued. If you spin one of these cars out, you got problems.
Okay. Well, I know some of the sprint car guys told me this, and I actually know his answer already because we talked about this before I hit the record button. But a lot of the sprint car guys said with those big wings, if you came right up on somebody, you'd lose the air on the front. Is it a similar situation with the Supers now?
Well, I mean, it's you can pass, but
you know what I mean? Coming right up on somebody's tail.
Yeah,
they say you kind of lose the front.
You do lose the front. You do.
Okay.
But that's your job to search around and try and find air.
That's why the good drivers always win, right? The car
that's what we do.
Perfectly wins, right? That's one constant that doesn't change, right, Joey?
That's exactly it. I mean, you could be the best driver in the world, and they make you put weight on your car or take wing angle out of your car, you know, do all kinds of crazy things to slow you down. You're still gonna win.
Yep, the cream will always rise to the top.
That's right.
The way that goes. Good catching up with you, man. And hopefully I'll see your face in Victory Lane here in one of these indoor shows, and I'll get to call you again, and we can have some more fun, right?
I'm hoping so. I'm looking forward to maybe knocking Tony off of his perch. I know he wins almost every race he's there, and
does he? Okay.
You know, he might be the boss, but you know, I'll settle for a Friday night race win over him. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, last lap pass, something like that to make it that much more dramatic would be perfect, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Well, I guess I'll call you in a couple of weeks then, and we'll talk more. So seriously, I appreciate your time, Joey. Thank you very much, and good luck with all these indoor shows.
I appreciate it, and thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, it's always good to talk to you.
Always great laughing with you and talking racing.
Yeah, go back to the one we did over the summer. You'll hear the embellished version of his rib thing. It's pretty good. Remember, hit the blue E, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll have more for you this week. You're listening, of course, watching Elkins Video Productions.